Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor with Linda. Yes, I'm so glad you're back with me again and that we're ready to paint again together. I want to move on from what we did, which was leaves on the bay, to sunrise painting on Sutton's Bay, which it could be any body of water when we do it, right? And we're just going to do a basic make the sun. I'm going to mask that out, okay, so that I hold that sun shape, and then we'll come in and we'll make our horizon line. Simple things, right? You can do this, right? I love doing this because you can do this over and over again and do many different beautiful paintings of sunrise or sunset. You know, I'm doing the sunrise just because that's where what I was looking at for a week straight. So I'm going to do something about this size. This one's shrink wrapped, so it's shining and you might not see it real well. This one's more or less a sunset and there's no sun because it's on the other side, but I want to take and you know, do a beautiful, you know, the sun is kind of maybe rising over on one side or the other. I think it's usually coming off this side, the right side in my photos. Doesn't mean you have to do it that way though, right? So let's do this. I'm excited. I hope you'll join me. We'll let those paints flow. Once you mask out a few things, you can just let those paints flow, and I'll show you that. And then we'll, you just feel free to let the vibrant, gorgeous, rich, transparent, beautiful colors come out and do what they do, right? So we're letting the paints paint themselves again. So I'm really glad you're here to join me. And this won't take terribly long. This will be something you can do quickly, and then mat and frame and hang it up all year, for your inspiration of the light coming back even on the darkest of days. No matter where we live, we have some dark days, right? Most places in the world, I think. There are some places where it's light all the time, I think, or more daylight, more sun, but even then you can enjoy a beautiful painting like this. So I hope you'll join me. Please do. Please come and let's try this together. You can change the colors if you want. You can have artistic liberty or license with it, right? But just get the basic idea while I'm doing it, and we'll enjoy this together. Please come to the table. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you. Here we go. All right. Okay, so I'm using the Arches 140-pound cold pressed paper. I think it's about is it a 10 by 14 or a 9 by 12? I'm trying to see what size. But anyway, let's see, yeah, 9 by 12. And then what I've done is, like I said, I've started in some trees and some land, a horizon line, a little bit of land here. There's water here. You can see all that, right? Water here. Okay. And then I put in a little sun, and I didn't do it here, but you'll see it on the next one. This one here, I've added the masking fluid. It's the same. I always do, or I usually do at least two, in case I don't like what's going on, or I want to do 2 or 3 of them with different colors. I think it's always good if you have an idea of a good layout to do at least one. Sometimes the second one's better. Sometimes you can just do 2 at a time and you have 2 paintings. So you can see the masking fluid. There's my sunrise is higher. It's coming up in the sky. There is actually some darkness up here, which I may or may not do. I put in some trees. I'm going to use sponging in there. I'm going to use some sponging here down in where there's leaves down in the bottom. And leaves here. And I'm going to use sponging for texture and for maybe some rocks and things as well. I'm probably going to also use my some of these knives to kind of bring in some rocks. So we're going to do some of our more, how do I say, create more fresh look with like big strokes of just putting on the color. So this is what we're going to do. So let's let that masking fluid dry, and then I'll see you back here to start adding some beautiful color and a beautiful sunrise painting. There'll be trees here. So here I have a photograph which I really like, okay, and the trees here I may just sponge in because I like them overhanging in the top of the painting, and then the sunset, or sunrise, excuse me, and then this landscape of which, as you recall, I have drawn here. And I did have the sun low, and those trees can kind of come in here and the glow of the sun. I'll probably tape this here so that'll actually bring that sun a little higher up into the piece, or the trees a little lower. And there's some beautiful land down here that I can look at here also, and bring that up if you need to on your tablet. Oh, sorry. Bring that up so you can see the details here, texture and land, rocks, leaves, just beautiful. It's a little dark here, but I'm going to brighten things up here on the painting. Okay. So we'll get our palette ready, mix our blues, and I'll get ready to do the sky. I've got some cobalt blue and some indanthrone blue, which I will mix. As you will see here, I will be wetting the paper, and then I will begin to apply the washes of color, starting with the blue of the sky here, and then leaving those strong colors in wet on wet paper, wet into wet, and then coming in with some of the water, little dry brush going on here, which you can see that I may maintain because I like how it makes the water sparkle. Looks like it's sparkling. If you want to know more about dry brush, look up some of my prior videos that are about how to create dry brush effect. You may see that I have been using a paper towel to just kind of lift and make the clouds more, if you lift out the blue, you'll have clouds, and also just if it gets too wet. Paper towel is one of my, it's like a brush, it's part of the painting process. You'll see when I apply the paint here, I just do it, just put it on there on the wet and let it just drip down, and it does such beautiful things, watercolors, and I like to let them do a lot of the work themselves. It's so natural and beautiful, right? And I've really just used so far just mostly cobalt blue. I don't even know if I mixed any other color in there. Maybe a tiny bit of indanthrone just to maybe give it a little more richness, but it's pretty much cobalt blue, which I love. As we're finishing up with the blue here, I'm starting to get excited to bring in my rich browns. There's the sepia and some other browns that I really love. Trying to think, probably quinacridone colors. I have some earth colors that are just so beautiful. Quinacridone deep gold is beautiful. You can get a raw sienna or a burnt umber. I don't know if I have that, but those kind of deep. You see some of the reddish coming in here. That's the more like quin burnt orange. And then we're bringing in some green. We're getting into some of the land here, and just love to let those colors flow like I did the water. I'll do some sponging in a little bit too, as you'll see, to get some texture in the land, some rocks formations and things like that.
I'm wetting the background now where the bay, you know, Traverse Bay, you can see the land back there. Bringing in some greens and browns, just sort of starting to define the land back there. And then we'll continue on. And looking at our photo as reference, you know, on the tablet, you know, you can say, do I want the land on the other side or not? You know, it's all artistic license. I say that I learned that in college, that you know, you can decide where you want to put things. You can change them. I may not put that dark of the clouds up in the sky, but I will put the trees up at the top and, you know, make decisions as I go, looking at my reference photo.
I didn't know if I mentioned, but I used salt, and after I moved the salt away, you can see the textures that I've started here on the land. And isn't that nice, as opposed to the smooth waters here? I actually realized that I kind of have land in two places. I'm just going to go with it. I mean, here's your background land here, and then there's some water, and then there's another like area of land here, and that's a little confusing, and I think I must have put my water a little too low, so I could come back in with some of this, making this more land, but I think I'm just going to kind of go on with it, see how it comes out. And this could be like a little island of a sort. That's all right. Trees here, we'll detail in and sponge in more here. I actually feel like my sky has kind of come to a dead stop here, and I think I need to add more. The masking fluid I've removed because it was getting, the holidays came, I had to take a break from painting, and masking fluid can be bad, the acid on the nice paper, so I did remove that. So yeah, we'll continue on now. I'm going to retape it down. There is also salt up in here, which I kind of like. And I'm just going to continue this in my own way. I'm going to add some sponging here and maybe some branches, and then color in these. So, you know, we don't want to have it be too much of a trying to copy the photograph. I always got to take my bracelet off, and then get our brushes, you know, our nice pointed rounds, flat, and maybe a nice flat like this as well. And again, these, but I'm going to bring out with my brushes here, I'm going to bring out my beautiful reds. I've got a nice Pyrenean orange there, and a scarlet here. We have some alizarin, so all these gorgeous reds that we might want to blend together, right? And create some beautiful reds in those trees, and maybe blend some of that in. There we go. You could dab it in if you like with your brush. I want to try the sponge. I haven't done this in a little while. I love sponging. There's a nice bumpy sponge. Let's see what, I don't know, I'm going to dampen it a little bit. And then pull in color. So some of this lovely trees here, and maybe that's why I didn't add all the blue there. I can do that. I can add more blue in if I wish. I did go off camera for a moment, but I did add this Pyro orange, which is gorgeous. It's much more vivid, and came in with some more bold strokes, you know, just coming in with the brush, whoosh, and, you know, giving space between the trunks. And I brought the trunks down to the land. I just thought that made more sense to me. Added some of that orange in here, all with the sponge. Sponge, sponge, sponge. except for here, the brush. That Pyro Orange just pops more. It's much more like I remember how it was in the autumn at Sutton's Bay. We're gonna let it dry and come back in and do any cleanup and detail we need. I actually rinsed this out in the sink because I started to overwork, and that's something that can happen in watercolor. So just because I've been doing this a long time doesn't mean that doesn't happen to me sometimes. And yet I don't think all is lost, so I'm going to now just come in, and I wet this paper here back up, and I'm going to detail in a little more of waves of the water with my large number 8 brush. Back to my beautiful cobalt blue. And you might see that also I added some white to my sun. This also I might add a little more white. My tree got a little overdone, and I may actually sponge in some white. I can retrieve white with my watercolor ground or my opaque watercolor. This is opaque. That sometimes works, but sometimes better is the watercolor ground by Daniel Smith is the one that I use. I'll show you real quick here. I don't keep tape stuff on me here. There we go. Daniel Smith watercolor ground. It's very handy as well. And then you can paint over that once you've, if you need to cover something up. I was losing my texture here, so I did bring in a little bit of white in there. As this is kind of setting up a little, I'm just going to bring in some more of that beautiful cobalt blue. Right here, I put it back in I used it all up, and now I'm back here doing it. And just another thought that I will show you quickly is I'm starting another one, because it's much fresher here. See, I kind of labored a little here, and it got a little heavy-handed. So I'm trying to save it, but that's why I drew up 2 or 3 of the same painting. I have some yellow in there, which I like, and it's just mimicking the reflection of the sun somewhat. And then I'm just going to bring in a little more blue here into my water. And I'm also adding just a hint more yellow to the water, but I'm trying to make sure it doesn't get too much in the blue. It turns kind of green, but it's kind of nice glow, even though it kind of mimics the green in the land, but I don't really want too much of that in the water, but I wanted that reflection, so I just added that as well. So now we can let that set up and dry, and it'll have a little more of a beautiful effect. I might actually move that just a touch over this way also, if I have the right brush here, and then let that kind of move over there, because it's kind of, it's kind of coming over here. Yeah. What fun. Woo! Okay. I think I'm going to call that finished.
So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. It's a little wet still. By the sunrise you'll see a little bit of a shimmer there, but it'll dry. I hope you liked how this came out. I actually do a lot. It was pushing getting overworked, but I managed to pull it off. So and tell me what you think. Leave your comments, and please like and subscribe. And again, you can always redo paintings. Go back to some of my prior videos and you'll see that sometimes that is the way to go, but you at least get a good sketch, and then you can move forward and keep it fresher if you'd like. Thank you for watching. Please join me again, and Happy New Year. Looking forward to more videos with you. Take care now.